All right, Rippers, welcome back. That's right, you can see me again. Yep, I know, I even shaved up a little bit, right? Right, yeah. Boy, oh boy, is there a lot going on today. So much so I couldn't even touch on it. All I can really say is just to keep things positive, just be getting ready. Be doing the things you need to do to be prepared for any kind of emergency. Because being prepared or being a prepper or being a homesteader or a survivalist or a lone wolf, gray wolf, whatever you want to call them, it isn't really about uh, SHTF as much as it is just being ready for any kind of event. Like right now in Florida, the people that are prepared or packed up their stuff and got out of Dodge are probably feeling pretty good right now, right? Because they're ready, they have the mindset to be able to get through what's happening, right? They've got the stuff that they need to get through what's coming and the event they're going through, right? And you know what? They probably have the security and the fortifications to get through it. I don't know if I'd want to go toe to toe with Mother Nature. You know, I kind of am one of those guys that once I'm taught a lesson, I try to learn from it, right? Right. But hey, you know what? Some people love where they live, and as long as they're prepared, well, God bless them, and I'll be praying for you, and I hope everything works out just fine, which I'm sure it will. Because if you're used to living in those areas, they're used to that. It's the people that aren't, right? The newcomers that moved to that area, the people that came in, moving out of other states, or even right now with the border the way it is, right? The immigrants that are coming in and stuff like that, that aren't prepared or know how to be prepared for those kind of situations, that are going to be really shocked by it, right? And it's going to be a big, well, they may even get panicked, right? It's going to be an issue for them, right? And that causes its own set of issues and dilemmas, right? Right. So, that being said, I hope you guys have all been out doing the things that you need to be doing. I know this year was tough on the garden. By the way, I appreciate all of the kind and loving comments that I got. Putting a video back out again. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I mean, it truly does. It really is humbling, and it really does mean a lot to me. It's special because it tells me that, well, you know what? There are people that care. There are people that listen. There are people that are positive. There are people that get it, right? And that's what this is about, and want to get that information out, right? Because that's what we want to be doing. We want to be getting this information out and slowly start changing minds, right? Not by forcing it down people's throats, just by our own actions, and then how we act and react in emergency situations, right? People see those kind of things and they say to themselves, at least this is my belief, they say to themselves, hey, I want to be prepared like that guy, right? Where did you learn how to do that? And there's your opening to be able to talk with people and say, hey, it's not that hard. I took this class, or I had this person help me, or hey, come on over and let's talk about it, right? And you don't have to lay all the heavy stuff on them, right? Because some of that stuff is pretty heavy. Some of it is, who knows if it's true or not, right? But one thing that is true that we can count on is that events happen in our lives that are large enough that they could easily be out of our control if we don't prepare, right? That's what's important. So that being said, I just wanted to share a few things with you guys, and then I'll let you go because I know you got plenty of busy work to be doing out there. You know, I told you some things I was going to share with you guys I wanted to talk to you about. And, you know, it got me thinking about, I was actually out at the Army surplus store, right? And I got myself the potassium iodide, right? Just because it was on my mind. See, thinking about these things and having a prepared mindset, well, it keeps you thinking that when you see something, you go, oh, wait a minute, I needed some of that. Now, I suggest having a list and writing it down, but it gets you thinking all the time. And so that way, when you see something, you realize that that'd be helpful. Now, that doesn't mean go out and get a bunch of stuff you don't need. We're talking about things you need, right? And so, you know, I'm talking about water. Water is one real important thing. If one thing we're seeing from this hurricane situation right now is that stores are getting wiped out from water first. People filling up shopping carts full of water, right? Think about that. If you didn't have water or a way to have it stored or thought ahead and already had it at home, you'd have no water. The one thing you need, very first thing that you could die from, pretty much, right? Besides, freak accidents, like palm trees going through the air and through your window, things like that, bad guys with bad things, right? Things like that. Not that those are bad things, just bad guys with bad things are bad things, right? You know what I'm saying. Anyway, that being said, water is an important thing. And now in the hurricane area, you're going to have plenty of it going every which direction. But it's probably not going to be safe to use, right? It's probably going to be partially salty because the hurricane does draw water up from the ocean as it gets going. You can see that in some of the reports where the beaches have been, the water levels way down and stuff like that. It's also going to push a lot of that salty water and stuff inland and start fouling water systems, wells, things like that, water filtration systems and all that. So for a while, you're not going to have safe water to drink, right? And you're going to need a whole lot more than this, right? I would suggest something like this that holds about 55 gallons and then some, just in case. But hey, just a tip there, your bathtub holds about that much water, right? So, not that your bathtub's all that clean, but you can boil it and you could use it in the case of an emergency, right? You could also get a water bob to put into your tub, right? To hook up and get that filled with fresh water, cap it off, and use your shower instead. You could even, if you designed it right, and your tub's big enough, you could design a little platform that went in there, right? That just let the water go down and out the drain. That's going to take some thinking. So, use your other bathroom, which probably has a stand-up shower in it instead, and just get yourself a water bob. They're cheap. You get a pack of 2. They're plastic, vinyl, and so they'll hold a whole bunch of water, and you'll have it just in case, right? And then you won't have to be going down to the stores where people are getting panicked, and people panicked are dangerous, right? They can be. So, anyway, back to the topic. I was talking about this. Yeah, you're going to need water, but you're also going to need ways to purify water. And this video is just simply about, this is my old Canteen that I've used for quite a long time. It's a bigger one, too. This is one I'd use if I'm going on a bigger, longer hike or thinking I'm going to need a little bit more water. Now, you'll see my everyday one that I kind of just have, because I try to think about weight, is just one of these cheapy-deepy, right? Single wall, we're going to talk about that in a minute, water canisters, right? Made out of aluminum. It's just the old GI style. These, you can get these, I don't know, they're probably $20 or something like that. Army surplus store. It comes with this little cheap holder right here that has the old Alice pack type connection that goes on there. Also comes with a sling that's in the inside that you can put onto this so that you can carry it, around your shoulder or something like that. Anyway, I just have it in there to keep track of it for right now because, as I said, I'm going through organizing things. But my main setup is like this. Now, this also will come with, if you have the right kit, it'll have one of these in there. Now, if you can't find one that has the kit together, you can do like I did, and this is like an Army surplus one. And what's really cool about it is I like this way because it actually says USA on the bottom. It says 1944. So this thing right here has been around and doing its thing. You can already see that it's been heated up and used to boil or cook soups or make their MRE, goulash or whatever they've done with it, or just plain simple boil water, right? And the nice thing about this is it has a handle like that, so you can move it on and off of the stove. It's got a little locking mechanism there like that, so you can move it on and off of whatever you're using, whether it's a fireplace or a stove or whatnot, to heat it up. And that's what makes this great, is because it's all one just unit like this, right? And it fits real nice into, now I got a little bit nicer one, plus it's MOLLE attached, right? So I can attach it up, has a couple pockets, so I could keep, what I would keep in here is some water purification pills, right? Whether or not you do the 2-step iodine ones or you do the Aqua Pure or whatever, and it has another pocket over here, I'd probably throw I'll bet you I can fit in there. Let me just see. I could fit like a small Sawyer Mini in there, or even, just a small Sawyer Mini in that little pack area right there. that would go with this, right? Maybe even some waterproof matches could fit in one of these pouches alongside the other stuff, so you have a way to light whatever you're going to be using to boil the water with. But what's important about this is the fact that, you know, if you can find this in stainless steel, which is what I'm still hunting for right now, a kit like this, that's even better. But you're looking for single wall, right? Everything these days, you got all these high dollar, hang on, I'll show you in just a second here. Everybody buys these things. Check this out. You know, and yeah, I'm not going to knock them. They're great. My favorite one is made by Stanley. It is the one, I'm not kidding you, I can put ice in there and water, and it'll still be ice and water days later, right? It's crazy, the Stanley one. I like the way the lid works. It's not a pop top like this, has a button so I can drink, but you get what I'm saying. These here are double walled, and you can tell because when you put your finger in there, you'll be able to tell there's a gap in between your fingers in here. These are not okay to put in dishwashers. They're not okay to put on fireplaces and heat them up to boil water and stuff like that. It'll pop this vacuum that they have in here, causing this insulating seal, right? They are good and tough. Everybody has these. I think they charge entirely too much for them, but you can go to, these days they're so common, you can go to TJ Maxx or Michael's or any of those Ross, any stores like this, and they're going to have a section with ones like this. They have little dings and dents in them for, and you'll pick it up for $3 to $5, maybe $7, depending on what name's on it. And there's a use for these. So you could have this to actually keep your water in, or spare water in your pack if you wanted, to keep it nice and cool, right? Once you've treated it, because that's one thing is you want to be careful when you're treating your water, right? Not to mix something that might be contaminated with something that's not. And we'll go into that in a future video where we're going over how to purify water with things like water filters and stuff like that. Because I have different types. You know, the one I use the most in my backpacking is I forget the name of it right now, but I think it's a Canteen. But it's a pump system that you can put it in a creek and pump it into your container, and you just got to keep that creek hose separate. And I have Ziploc bags I keep it in, that kind of stuff, just to keep from cross-contaminating. And even then, I might even drop, depending on what the water looks like, an aqua pure pill in there or something like that. So, and you have to wet the threads up on stuff. There's things you got to do that really will keep you from getting sick. Because I know people that have had Giardia, and I'm telling you what, you don't want it. And you especially don't want cryptosporidium. Look it up. It's nasty, right? Unless you like sitting on the toilet a lot and, you know, possibly not making it. But anyway, so a kit like this, get yourself a nice one like this to put on that you can use to carry it with. You can put it on your belt, you can put it on your pack, you can put it wherever you want. But what's really cool that I found is, and you know, I'm one for trying to look for ways to minimalize even more, right? So that I don't have to have a lot of stuff. Right? Because I don't want to carry a lot of stuff. I want to be mobile, right? Especially a guy my size, right? You want to be mobile. So you want to, you know, I was out there and I took a look and I was looking around for things, and this just popped up as, you know how they always have that, you know, mind reading capability that your phone has where it goes, hey, you might be interested in this, right? Well, this little thing came up. Now check this out. And they weren't expensive, and they're really not much of anything. They're just a little piece of pressed aluminum, or, you know, extruded aluminum here. But these are designed to go, it's called the US 91 Handcrest, is probably the company that made this, but it's probably a military design that was meant to go with kits like this. And what you do is you stick it on there like that, and then you stick that inside there like that. Or, no, wait, vice versa. It's made so that it goes like this. Yeah. There. So it goes on your cup, and then that goes in there, and then that goes in there. And honestly, it weighs an ounce or two. It's not heavy at all. Now, what is it for? That's what's really kind of neat about it. Because one of the things I carry in my pack is those lightweight stove. If I really want to go lightweight, is a little fuel tab stove. Or you could just use sticks. But you have one of those little fuel tab type stoves, or just the fuel tabs themselves, and a rock would work. But you can take this, and you've got your water. So say you go down, you get your water that needs to be cleaned, or you get it in a different container, say. and you want to boil it. Now, you could just boil it right in this, and that's what's great about this, right? Is you take this thing off like this, right? And you set it down there like that, and it's got a little opening in it, see, right there. It's going to get right there. Yeah, a little opening. It's got air vents so that the air will work right, cause a little Venturi action or whatever you want to call it. And, oh, it's for the cup. And then your cup will go on here like this. Come on. All right. Will fit right on there like that. So you can take your, you can actually take your cup, go down, get some water, right? And then take your cup and set it on here. Oh, you don't even have to do that. You could do that. You could have your water in here, undo the cap, and it will still heat up just fine if you want to do it inside this container. And that's where you need single wall. We'll get to that in just a second. But you can see where I put a little, because this has a plastic and not a steel type of cap lid on here, I did away with one of the links on the chain here, and I put just a little safety pin, right? One, I can use that safety pin to make a hook. I can use that safety pin to fix a piece of clothing or equipment or something, just if I needed to in a pinch. But I can take this lid off and allow myself to boil water out of just this jug like this. Or I can take and just go get the water in here, boil it, then take it off and let it cool and pour it into my container, which is probably the way I do it to keep this as sterile as it can be, because as you're heating this up, getting it boiled, it's going to sterilize this whole unit, right? And what you do is you put underneath here, you know, in this little area here, you're going to put your rock down there and your little fuel tab, you know, those little solid fuel type things. You could even put the stove underneath here. It'll fit underneath there, fold it open, and sat down underneath there to open this. Or you could even just put this on a rock on the ground and feed sticks in here, right? Start yourself a little fire, nestle this down on there, and then just keep feeding sticks into here until this boils, right? That's what makes this so handy, because you're not counting on fuel. You can use what you find. It doesn't weigh anything. It goes and fits with this kit, so it takes up no real more space or anything like that. And that's why I thought this was super cool and why I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, if you can find a stainless steel single wall unit, I would do that too, but this aluminum will hold up too to boiling water in it. It's single walled, and if you can find one with a metal cap, that's even better. But if not, just modify your cap like this, so that way you can take it off if you're putting it in the fire. Now, and just so you know, on this bigger one, this fits as well. I got one in here as well, and I have the cup for this one too, so that way you can see this holds a lot more water. It's quite a bit bigger than that one, probably double the size. But that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys. Now, when we're talking about double-walled stuff, I'm going to be doing a project coming up where I'm going to make it can be used for desalination. It could be used for distilling water if you wanted to, right? And that way, you know, if you're in saltwater areas, say like you're over there in that hurricane right now, right? The water you can gather up might be brackish, right? It'll be kind of salty. You don't know if it's in good shape or not. So you're going to need to be able to desalinate it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and try and make a desalinator that I can put in a pack. It's not going to be any bigger than this, and a couple cups maybe. And have some other things with it. There's some pieces and parts, but basically it'll take up that much space, right? It'll be able to be kept in a box like this or a bag or something like that, right? And you're going to love that video. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not the first that has ever done it, but I'm going to give it my little twist on it, see if I can improve what's been done before. And when I was looking for containers, one thing I had the hardest time finding, I could find these double-walled things all day long if I wanted to, right? And that's great, and even found some good deals, but I already got enough of these coming out my ears because everybody drinks enough water around here except for me. But I needed to find single wall, and I could not find anything local. Didn't matter what store I went to. You would think that even the Army surplus store might have a stainless steel single walled unit, and I couldn't, right? So what do I have to do? I had to go to the internet, and that's fine. But before I went to the internet, I did find an option I think would work. Yes, it does have a plastic cap, But honestly, you're going to be heating things down here, and as long as you watch your temperatures, this might still work just fine. So we're going to try that and see if it does. But you've got these are in the water sections of some stores. This one came from Walmart. It's thinner walled. It's not as durable as this one, which is called the Pathway Water. But these are refillable water things. I guess like at where my kids went to school or college at, they could buy one of these and drink it and then go and fill it up at a station that had this special purified water. I don't know. It's a liberal thing or a college thing or whatever. But anyway, because our tap water here is really, really good, like the best in the world almost, right? So that being said, I did find this one, which was called Path. Maybe they're the same. I don't know. Also has a plastic lid on it, single walled aluminum construction, right? So just as long as you watch your temperature, you should be able to get these to boil just fine and do what we need them to do. Even if you wanted to look, say you're right now in Florida, right? And you want a way to purify your water, right? Just take one of these you find at the store when you're buying your water at the store, if there's still some there, and keep this container, and you can just stick it kind of partially next to the fire or in the fire coal area, right? And let this thing boil off, right? And purify your water that way too, because that's something you're going to need to do, right? So if you get yourself a 12 pack of these, you can do a bunch of water all at once and purify a bunch of them, let them sit to cool, and then you'll have water, right? But I did find on the internet, I got 2 of these. Now they had 3 different sizes. This is the smaller size because I want this to be compact. They had one that was a little bit bigger and one that was a little bit bigger. But this one is, it doesn't say on it because it's probably made in China. But this is a nice, it's single walled, right? You put it in here, it feels like there's nothing between your fingers hardly. That'll be a single wall unit. There's no vacuum seal down in the bottom. So I can use this, and it's a good quality stainless steel. It's big enough I can't really push a dent into it, so that's good. Single walled unit. This you can use to do a lot of things with water, mainly boil it. But we're going to turn this into a desalinator or a what do you call it, distiller as well. We can make distilled water. Which if you do that and you're going to drink distilled water that you've distilled out like that, you want to add some salt or electrolytes back into it. So if you have a little packet of, like I keep those little packet of mix Gatorade or some sort of powdered form like that, I put a little bit of that in there, maybe half a packet, because I'm not doing it for flavor. I'm just doing it to get some of the good stuff that's in water back into it, right? Drink a lot of desalinated or distilled water, and it can tend to cause some issues. So if you do it long term, so be sure to add at least a pinch of salt back into it, right? But the powdered drink things, as long as it's a good one like Gatorade or something else, whatever your favorite is, put it in there, and that'll help keep you healthy. Now, what was cool about this is it has a steel lid, not even just the lid, but the thread itself, right? The only thing that's not, but I think it'll be fine and the heat won't get that hot, but it has this heavy duty rubberized silicone type of seal in there. So as long as that silicone can take some heat, and we'll test it, then we're going to be just fine. Otherwise, what we're going to do is if it fails and starts to melt, we'll pull that thing out and we'll stuff a bunch of like tin foil or something like that in there that'll give it enough of a seal when it's tightened down tight that it'll be able to do what we want it to do, but yet hold the water in there and keep it from sloshing all over the place. But I honestly believe that this is going to be fine. Part of the reason is because this part is kind of double walled, so it will help to keep the heat from transferring from this to this. Now you might ask, will that blow this? Well, I don't think so, and I'm going to be doing some research into it. I may just put a little tap hole in it, just a tiny little hole to break the seal so that it doesn't, but yet keeps the insulating factor a little bit there, right, from having some distance between, say, this part and this part, right, this little space that's in there. But as you can see how that is? That's going to be nice. I like that. I like the fact that it has a D-ring on it right here at the top so that I can tie it up, so I can make a teepee above a fire and hang this in here and have it doing its thing that I'm going to have it doing, right? Whether that's just boiling straight up or if it's desalinating. So anyway, keep an eye out for that video. I think you guys are going to really love it. And I know you guys in the past have liked all my MacGyver type videos. And you know, while I say I'm not the first person that's probably ever done something like I'm going to do. And it probably won't be the last. And that's okay, because there's nothing new on the internet right now. I mean, there's millions and millions and millions of smart, intelligent, you know, great people out there. And great people think of good things, and good people share those things with everybody out there, right? So there's nothing wrong with doing something that's been done before. Just give it a little flair of your own, right? And if you got inspired by somebody else, give them a little shout out and say, hey, this guy inspired me, and here's what I've done to make it a little bit different that I think might be improved. Or maybe not. We're going to find out. So, and I've got 2 of these containers. One of them will be the catch container, and one of them will be the dirty water container, right? Think about that. So, until next time, sounds like I got an intruder, right? Good thing I'm packing. Stay safe, stay secure, always be aware of your surrounding, and be ready and prepared for anything that may come your way. And if you've got it, wear it. And if you're wearing it, get out there and practice with it, not only for your safety, but for the safety of others. Adios.